Hey there, Wargamers, and welcome to another Warzone Apothis. I'm here today with Sean, who has actually come all the way from the West Coast. Yes, West Coast. Had to do a little bit of internal geography there. And we're going to be playing a couple 1,500-point games. Now, you brought your Daemons in for this one. Yeah. So clearly, he's going to be fighting on the side of Chaos. As usual, I'll have my Mech forces with a little bit of Grey Knight allies sprinkled in on this one. And we're going to be fighting over the planet of Duusol today. Mostly because that's the only place where both of us have flags in terms of Chaos and Mech. So, let's go take a look at the armies and the board. And here's Sean's 1,500 points of Daemons. Now, one of the advantages he does have for the Warzone Apothis campaign was an extra 45 points, which he just used to add a couple extra Nurglings in there. So why don't you just, starting from the left or the right, just let us know what you got here.
Sure. So I have 2 squads of 12 pink horrors, a squad of 10 flesh hounds, a squad of 3 Nurgling bases, and a squad of 4 Nurgling bases, a Soul Grinder.
Oh, my arch nemesis there.
With he has Torrent and Demon of Slanesh.
Okay.
Bellicor is leading the army. I have a squad of 19 Seekers with a Heart Seeker, and then
Fate Weaver back there.
Yep.
All right. So that's going to be an interesting army to play against. Bellicor kind of scares me, and Soul Grinders always scare me. So it's going to be fun to play against that. And my impressive army to go up against that massive horde of demons there. I'm running an Mech base right here, so I have my Tech Priest Dominus right there with an Eradication Ray. He's also got the, all of a sudden I can't remember, but it's the relic that allows the Castellan Maniple to change its protocols immediately as opposed to at the beginning of the next turn. I am running a unit of Destroyers. Now right now I'm not running them with the Grive Cannons in this particular game. I'm going to be running them with the Plasma Culverins. And then I do have the 1 unit of Breachers there, which is armed exactly as you see. So the 1 Torsion and the 2 heavy arc rifles. And then I have the Castellan Maniple in the back with the Data Smith and the 3 Castellans with twin-linked heavy phosphor blasters and carapace mounted phosphor blasters. And then as a little allied force, I do have 1 level 3 librarian with a halberd and stormbolter. I have 1 squad of Terminators. Everything what you see is what you get. So the 1 hammer, the halberds, the falchions, and 1 psi cannon. And then we have a Nemesis Dread Knight with the personal teleporter, heavy incinerator, and heavy psi cannon. And that is my 1,500 points. And here is the table. So the mission we'll be running for this particular game is going to be Cloak and Shadow. So each of us are going to be keeping our objectives hidden from each other and from the camera in this particular case. Now I won the roll-off to deploy, so I have my Mech deployed right over here with my Grey Knights going to be deep striking in. And across the board, we have that massive horde of demons. Now, one of the benefits that Sean has for this Warzone Apothis mission is he gets +1 to his seize attempt. So he seizes on a 5+. So if you want to go ahead and roll that. Sure. No. Alright, so it looks like we will be going into Mech, turn 1. So at the start of my turn, I have drawn my 3 objectives. I know what I'm going after. And I do have 2 reserve rolls to make for the Nemesis Strike Force here. So the Terminators with Librarian will be coming on. And the Dread Knight will not be coming on. And I am going to attempt to deep strike my Librarian with Terminators in right here. Very gutsy, because almost any scatter is going to end poorly for me, I think. So let's just see where I go. Direct hit. Beautiful. And Sean just remembered we did have a scout move we needed to do over here for the hounds here. So he's just going to move them up 12 inches, like so. Over here, the Breachers are going to move through difficult terrain just to get a little bit closer to the edge there. 5 inches, so that's enough to put him forward a little bit. And enough to get this one hiding down there, up and on the battlements. Same thing for these Destroyers, just going to be getting a little bit closer here. Going to be moving 3 inches forward. And that's enough to get one of them down, or sorry, rather 2 of them down off the battlements. And one of them still stuck on top. And over here, these Castellans are just going to reposition a little bit, just to get a whole bunch of shots into those hounds over there. Actually, we're just going to move him over a little bit just to reduce cover saves. And that is my movement phase. Going to go into the psychic phase here. So I currently have a Mastery Level 3 Librarian and a Grey Knight Terminator squad, so I'm going to be getting D6 plus 4. So I'll be getting 9, but I think Sean is going to be getting a lot more than that. So I'll have 9, and he will have 16 warp charges for this psychic phase. And I'm going to be tossing 6 dice into Cleansing Flame from my Librarian right here. It's within range to hit this unit, which just so happens to contain Bellicor, so you're going to be able to deny it a lot easier. And this unit of pink horrors right there. So it's Warp Charge 2. And I will succeed with 3. So I was actually mistaken. Apparently Bellicor cannot actually join the Seekers right there because of lacking Demon of Slaanesh. So that's going to make it a little bit harder for him to deny that Cleansing Flame. Using the Seekers to deny, he just needs 3 5+s here to deny it.
Or the horrors.
Or the horrors. And it is, yeah, it's denied. And for my last 3 dice, I'm going to attempt to cast Banishment on your Screamers there, needing a Warp Charge 1. And I'm going to Perils, but I got it with 3 successes. So needing at least 3 5s. And it is denied. And let's see what happens on the Perils chart. 5. And the result of a 5 is just a leadership check, and if I fail it, I take a wound. Otherwise, nothing happens, and I am good. That is the end of my psychic phase, moving into the shooting phase. Starting over here, the Terminators into the Screamers right there, starting with the Psy Cannon, hitting on 3s. That's going to be 3 hits right there. Wounding on 2s. That's going to be 3 wounds right there, so 3 5-up saves.
Okay. I can reroll once. And 3 die.
Alright, there they go. And now all the Stormbolters once again hitting on 3s. And wounding on 3s. There's going to be 5 more saves. Oh, there's a couple ones you get to reroll there. So 2 more go down. Moving over to the Breachers, they are within range of this Soul Grinder over here, and I want to take him out because they always cause a bad day for me. So starting with the 4 heavy arc rifles here, hitting on 4s. That's going to be 2 hits right there. And anything but 1s. That's going to be 1 glancing hit, but I am firing through a ruin here, so you are going to get your 4-up cover save from this. And you're fine. Now the Castellan's going to be firing into those hounds over there. I'm going to fire with the twin linked shots first. So this is going to be 9 shots hitting on 4s, twin linked. Not bad, even without the twin linked. So of those 9, 8 are going to hit. And of those 8 hits, what's their toughness? 4? Alright, so these are going to be wounding on 2s. That is going to be 6 wounds. Front 3 are outside of cover, so 5-up invulnerable saves. Reroll that 2 there, that's cocked. Alright, so that's going to be 3 wounds right there. So 1.5.
1.5.
And 3 more have gone through. And it looks like
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. So 2.5 hounds have gone down. Now that does mean the Luminogen rule does kick in, which means anytime he's taking his cover save, it's pretty much going to be equal to the invulnerable save at this point for this phase. So it's going to make it a little bit easier for me as I whittle them down a bit more. 9 more shots, hitting on 4s, not twin linked this time, as they get away from me. Alright, and on 2s. That's going to be, that one was cocked. That's going to be 4 more wounds right there, so you might as well just roll a whole bunch of 5-ups now. And that's going to be 4 wounds.
So 1, 2, 3,
and then 1 on that back guy there. Next up is the Eradication Ray from the Tech Priest Dominus. It's just within range of this front guy here, so I'm just going to place it to try and get 2 targets there. So, and that's going to be a direct hit for 2, and this is going to be Strength 6 AP3 because of the range, for 2 more wounds.
And 2 saves, so...
And that 1 hound does go down. And at the end of the shooting phase, I'm just going to run with these Grey Knight Terminators because their Nemesis Strike Force lets them to. A total of 4 inches, and just going to spread out a tiny little bit. Like so. And that does end my turn for Admech and Grey Knights. So, let's go into the Demon, turn 1. Into the movement phase for Sean. He's just going to move his Screamers back a little bit.
Horrors?
Sorry, Horrors. I keep calling them Screamers, don't I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Screamers are the flying things, like the little manta ray looking things.
Yeah.
Alright. And over here, the Slanesh Seekers, that's it. Probably just going to rely on you to get the names right on this one.
Right.
They're just going to shift over here and go to counter these Grey Knight Terminators right here. Bellicor just repositioning, giving support to those Seekers there. And Fate Weaver taken to the air and moving forward. And the Fleshhounds just continuing to move forward as well. Soul Grinder just going to plod forward a little bit as well. And the Nurglings and Horrors just going to stay put. Into the Psychic phase, so you have 11 plus d6 for a total of 13, and I'm going to have 6. And I have just learned something. Apparently when the Horrors go under 10 models, they only generate 1 warp charge instead of 2. So he's actually going to be having 12 warp charges instead of 13. Over here, Bellicor is going to start by trying to cast Invisibility onto the Seekers. 1/4 is cocked there.
Yep.
And those Seekers are going to be hard enough for me to kill without striking on 6s. So I got to try and dispel this, or deny this. So on 6s, re-rolling 1s because of the Aegis special rule. And I got it. Over here, this unit of Horror is going to try and summon something.
And they don't.
Nope, so that fails. And Fate Weaver attempting Fire Shield on the Fleshhounds.
And
Does not go off. So he's going to try Flickering Flame onto the unit of Breachers right there.
Goes up.
And that will go off. And I have no dice in which to dispel it.
So I get 4 shots.
So hitting on 2s, but the re-rolls on a 6. Go ahead. So that's going to be 4 hits right there. And against the Breachers, it will be wounding on a 4. That's going to be 3 wounds right there. Now I do have some armor saves. 3 up. And I'll take 1 wound. Next up we have the Warp Storm table. What's going to happen? 7. And the Warp is experiencing a moment of zen right now and has decided not to do anything mean to either of us. And the Soul Grinder is going to fire his Harvester Cannon into the Breachers on this building over here. So go ahead.
Hitting on 4s.
That's going to be 2 hits right there.
Strength 7.
So on 2s. That's going to be 1 wound right there. And what's the AP on this side? 4, so I will have my 3-up armor save. Oh no! I am going to take another wound, so we got to figure out which one of these is closest. And one of the heavy arc rifles will drop a wound. Moving into the assault phase, I'm going to assume you want to assault into the Terminators there?
Absolutely.
That seems like a good idea. Alright, so I got some Overwatch to do here. Let's start with the Psy Cannon. That's going to be 2 hits right there. And these are, what's your toughness?
Toughness 3.
Toughness 3, so on 2s. That's going to be 2 5-up saves you have to make. Alright.
2 dead.
2 go down. Next up is 10 Stormbolter shots, again hitting on 6s. 1 more hit. And 1 more wound. And another Seeker is going to go down. So let's see how far he charges in.
6 inches, that'll be more than enough.
That's enough to get a whole bunch in there, yeah. Gonna use Fleet to reroll the 1 though, just to get a little bit better. Yeah, 1 inch is 1 inch, right?
Yep.
In they come. Now, do these guys cause impact hits? Let's get them in there and then we'll find out, yeah. So they're going to just start charging forward. So there will be 5 Hammer of Wrath attacks at strength 3, so wounding on 5s. That's going to be 2 wounds right there. And 2 saves. So 10 of the Seekers are within range of combat, so that's going to be 40 attacks. Oh, jeez. I forgot about Pile In right there. That's going to bring 2 more guys, or 2 more Seekers in, so that's going to increase the attacks by another good chunk there. Oh, actually, no, 3 guys in, because that one's going to be within range now as well.
Okay, so 52
attacks. So we're going to roll this in 2 batches of 26, and your weapon skill 5, so hitting on 3s. Alright. 18 hits from the first batch, wounding on 5s, but rending on 6s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, oh boy, there's 4 rends.
5 rends.
5 rends right off the bat. So 5 rends, I gotta do these individually, so we're gonna start with the guy with the halberd at the very front there. And he's dead. And then my Justicar is, oh, alive so far, so that's 2 of the rends. And 3 of the rends. Oh, maybe he'll get lucky. Nope. So the Justicar goes down next. And next up will be the Librarian. And he will take a wound. And then I have 2 regular armor saves to make here. And the Librarian is down to a single wound remaining. And the next batch of 26 again, hitting on 3s. Once again, 18 hits. Oh, jeez, there's a lot more rends there. So 6 rends, I'm going to look answer each and every one of these. Nope, so the Librarian is going to be dead. And all those other rends, I will save 2 of them, so I'm down to a single Terminator remaining, which is going to be the guy with the hammer right there. And then he will die as well, so that entire squad has been wiped out in 1 round of combat by the Seekers before even getting to attack back. And we did skip ahead a little bit, but we do have an assault over here that's going to be happening. He's going to attempt to charge into the Castellan Maniple. Now, I do have some Overwatch that I need to quickly get done as well.
Yep.
Starting with the twin-linked shots, hitting on 6s. That's going to be 2 hits right there, but twin-linked. For 2 more hits. Wounded on 2s. That's going to be 3 wounds. 5 up saves. And 1 hound will go down. Next up is 9 non-twin link shots. That's going to be 2 more hits right there. Wounded on 2s. That's going to be 2 more wounds.
Sorry about that.
And 1 more wound on the hounds. So just be on this closest fella right there.
Sure.
Next up I have the Gamma Pistol from the Datasmith, which will not hit. I have the Eradication Ray from the... Oh, actually I gotta check the range on that one to see if you can fire it this turn. Okay, so if I had killed that hound that's wounded, I would be out of the 12-inch range there for the Eradication Ray, which would have made it a blast, which means I wouldn't have been able to use it. But because I'm within 12, I do get the other pistol shot here for it, which is the Strength 8 AP 1. But it's not going to matter because it's not going to hit. And lastly, oh, wait, no. And that is all for him. I should have fired the Macro Stubber instead. Oh well. So that is my Overwatch. And we're looking at a 9-inch charge with Fleet. You might want to re-roll that.
Yeah. 6.
Nope, no. You only rolled a 4 there. So only 7 inches, so the charge does not go off. Now, for some reason, he thought he could only re-roll one of those dice, so the other one, and it would still just be a 7-inch charge in this case. And at the end of the first turn, Sean was able to get Objective 2 being securely held by these little Nurglings over there. So that ends the turn 1 of the Demons. He was able to come in and just absolutely destroy my Librarian with his Terminator squad right here. Now that's all he's been able to do so far, but that's still quite an effective first turn. So let's go into Admech Grey Knight, turn 2. And at the start of my turn, I still have my 3 objectives. I wasn't able to achieve any of them last turn, so we're just going to hold on to those. And let's see if the Dread Knight comes on. Yes, he does. And the Dread Knight's going to attempt a deep strike right there. And he's going to scatter 3 inches this way, but it's not a mishap, and that's what's important. And at the start of my turn, I'm going to use the Benediction of the Omniscience. So I have 4 Cult Mechanicus units on the table, so they're each going to be rerolling 1s and 2s in the shooting phase. And at the start of my movement phase, I'm going to start by moving the Destroyers a little bit closer. Move through difficult terrain. 5 inches, enough to get him down, and these guys up just a little bit like so, and get those hounds into range of the Plasma Culverns. And these Castellans are just going to reposition just a tiny little bit, actually going to go this way, and just force those dogs to come a little bit closer. And that is my movement phase, so we're going to go into the Psychic phase here. So I have 1 Warp Charge on the table, plus D6, for a total of 4, and you now have 13. And the only power I'm going to try and cast is going to be Sanctuary on my Dread Knight, which won't even go off. So that ends my psychic phase. Moving into the shooting phase, I'll start with the Dread Knight, putting his heavy incinerator right over here. Gonna be able to hit, ooh, actually, I'm gonna have to take a better look at this. By putting it right around there, I'm actually gonna be able to hit 11 of the Seekers with the heavy incinerator. 11 hits, wounding on 2s, and everything wounded. 11 5-up saves to make here. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not bad actually, 6 saves. So only 4 are going to go down. I'm going to look at the what's it called? The
Heartseeker.
Heartseeker, okay. And both of them look down. And the heavy side cannon, I'm going to fire the large blast template onto it because that is just too juicy to give up. It's hitting all of them but 2 of them. If I get a direct hit here, which I did not, it's going to scatter 3 inches. And with the new position, it's only going to hit 7. 7 hits, wounding on 2s. That's going to be 5 wounds, of which you have your 5-up invulnerable saves for. And 3 more are going to go down. Would you like to look answer the Heartweaver there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So on a 4+. Oh, Heartweaver is going to take 1. And that does remove a couple more from the unit. And now these destroyers are going to fire their plasma culverins into the unit of hounds right here. I'm just going to double check range to find out where the best place to put the template is. So I'll place the first one right there. In fact, they'll probably all just get placed right there. So the first one is going to scatter off about 6 inches there. That'll bring the template right over there. The second one, oh, I forgot to do some Gets Hot rolls. So that's going to scatter off as well, but I'm going to quickly do some Gets Hot for each of these. So let's quickly get those Gets Hots out of the ways. Alright, good. Nothing's getting hot. Back to the actual templates. That 7-inch scatter is going to go right back there. So far, not so good with these guys. Next one. That's going to scatter, jeez. It's going to scatter 4 inches. That will be enough to hit 1 of the hounds at least. And this is number 4 right here. And that's going to scatter 3 inches. And that's enough to hit 2. And my last pair here. Finally, a direct hit for 3. And the last one is going to be way off. So I got a total of 6 hits there. So 6 hits, wounding on 2s. Okay, at least I got 6 wounds there. Or sorry, 5 wounds there. So go ahead, roll your saves. Here's some dice. There you go. And 4 wounds. So 1, 2, and then 1 just placed on that back hound there. And lastly, the phosphor blasters, not the heavy variants, just regular phosphor blasters, onto the unit of hounds as well. These are not within rapid fire range, so only 3 shots, hitting on 4s, but re-rolling 1s and 2s for my canticle. So re-roll that 1 right there for a total of 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, that's going to be 2 wounds there, so 2 5-up saves. Alright, so we're down to 1 hound there. Next up, these breachers are going to fire into the soul grinder right there. Hopefully, hoping for a good one this time. Hitting on 4s, re-rolling the 1s and the 2s for 3 hits. And what's going to happen here? So 1 pen and 2 glances. And at this point, not enough of the soul grinder is obscured for the 4-up cover save. So these are just going to be 5-ups here. So roll the glances first.
Sure.
Alright, so 1 glance has gone through, and the penetrating hit. It goes through. Okay, so what happens on the pen? That is a 5. That's going to be a weapon destroyed. And so you have the harvester cannon, you have his flame thing, and you have a close combat weapon?
Yeah.
Alright, so 1, 2 will be the harvester, 3, 4 the flame, 5, 6 will be the close combat. That's a 5, so the close combat weapon has been destroyed. Next up, I'll be firing the torsion cannon, hitting on a 4, re-rolling 1s and 2s. I think that's the first time I've actually hit with the torsion cannon in any of these games. So that's definitely going to hit your front armor 13, correct?
Yeah.
Alright. And nothing's going to happen from that. And the Castellan Maniple, they're going to fire and take their chances firing into the Flying Fate Weaver. Would you like to jink? I'm hitting you on 6s.
He's not going to jink.
Not going to jink? Alright. So starting with the 9 twin link shots, hitting on 6s. Twin linked. So let's try that again. And there's going to be 3 hits right there. Wounding on 3s. Oh, come on! So none of those are going to wound. But I do have the 12 or the 9 non-twinling shots now. But these are going to be rerolling 1s and 2s because of the canticle. And there's going to be 2 hits right off the bat with 3 rerolls here. So 3 more hits. And that time 2 wounds. And he has a 4-up invulnerable save. Which he made one of them.
He's
can reroll 1s, okay. No, so he'll still take that wound. And Fate Weaver drops to 4 wounds. Okay. And that is the end of my shooting phase. So let's see the grounding check here. And he's fine, okay. And that does end my round here because I have no charges to declare. And no objectives have been achieved yet for me, so things are starting to look a little grim. So let's go into Demons, turn 2. And at the end of my turn, I am going to discard a single card here, and I don't know if I'm actually supposed to reveal it or not, but I'll reveal discarding Objective 3. Moving into Chaos, turn 2. He's drawn his third back up to 3 objectives, and he does have a deep striking Nurgling squad to come in. Does it? It sure does. And going to attempt to scatter or deep strike them right there. And it's going to scatter 11 inches back. Now there's a bit of a curve here because the fat mat doesn't fit exactly in there, but 11 inches is pretty much going to take him right to the table edge there and not off. And in the movement phase, starting with the Seekers, they see a Dread Knight. They want to go smack a Dread Knight over there. And considering what they did to my Terminators, I believe they have it in them. So there they go. And Be'lakor just moving in to support the Seekers. And the Horrors just sort of repositioning, just so I can't get in there and get a really nice template shot in on them. And the Hound, right down there, just going to keep moving forward. And the Soul Grinder, just going to move forward 6 more inches. And Fate Weaver, still in the air, just going to Vector Strike over the Destroyers right there, and just land right behind the Castellans. So that Breacher will take a Strength 5 hit. Yes, he will. Alright, and that is just going to outright kill him because it is an AP2 hit. Now, just a little bit of bookkeeping we forgot here. These guys right here were hit with a Heavy Incinerator for Soul Blaze. So let's see if they continue to be Soul Blazed. Nope, it goes off. And the Horrors and the Nurglings in this building are just going to continue to stay still and just keep doing their thing. Into the Psychic phase. So you're going to have 5 plus 10 for a total of, oh geez, 15 to my 6. At the start of the Psychic phase, Be'lakor going to try and invisibility the Seekers here. And it's going to go off. Yeah, I'm not going to try. Yeah, I'm not going to try on that one because that's just going to lose all my dice. That's 3. Summoning over here on these Horrors, Warp Charge 3. And it fails to go off. And Fate Weaver's going to try Flickering Flame against my Castellan unit with the Dominus in there, using 5 dice. And that one is going to go off with 3 successes there. And I have 6 dice, why not? Hey, I denied it! Amazing, okay, so no Flickering Flame there. And that does end the Psychic phase. Warp Storm chart. 8. So the result is Dark Prince Thirst, so any unengaged Khorne units are going to roll on this. On a 6, they're going to take some hits. Nothing. So let's move on to the Castellan Maniple right here. Nothing from that one. And the Destroyers. Nope. And the Breachers up on this building right here. Nothing there. And let's move over to the Dread Knight. And the Dread Knight. Nothing there either. Soul Grinder's Flamer template is still out of range, so the 3 Harvester Cannon shots into the Breachers right there, hitting on 4s. That's going to be 1 hit. And there's a wound. So that's going to be 1 wound against the Breachers right there, 3 up save. And I'm good. And would you like to declare a charge with your Seekers?
Absolutely.
Alright. Now you also have Be'lakor. Is he going to be charging in?
Yeah, he'll also charge in.
Okay. Which charge do you want to do first here?
So we're going to go for them.
The Seekers first? Okay. So I get my D3 Wall of Flame for a total of 3 hits. That's good. And that's going to be 3 wounds right there. So 3 5-up saves. And the front 3 are just going to go down. Next up, I do have the Heavy Side Cannon hitting on 6s for 2 hits, wounding on 2s. That's going to be 2 more 5-up saves to make. And one more Seeker will bite it. Looking at a 9-inch charge with Fleet. So there's 5. 9 inches, there you go. So that is enough to put the front 3 into base, and everyone else will just pile in afterwards. And Be'lakor can't fail this charge. Oh, look at that, 10 inches in. He's good. Starting with the Hammer of Wraths, Be'lakor at strength 6, so on a 4. Nothing. And you'll have 3 Hammer of Wraths from your Seekers there. And nothing from them. Starting with Be'lakor's 6 attacks on the charge. What's your weapon skill?
Weapon skill 9.
Alright, so you're hitting on 3s?
Yep.
That's, only 3, okay. And what's your strength? Your strength 6, so on 4s? Only 1 wound. 5 up, invulnerable save. No, my Dread Knight will take a wound. A couple quick corrections. There's actually 2 wounds dealt, because it's actually Fleshbane. And he does have Mastercrafted, so one of those missed attacks, it will be still going in. Okay, so the missed attack will still miss. Yeah. But there is another save I have to make here because you got 2 wounds. So 5 up. No, so he's actually going to drop down to 2 wounds at this point as I knock him over. Next up, we have 20 attacks from the Seekers into the Dread Knight here. And these are going to be hitting on 3s. Sorry, actually hitting on 4s. It's been that long since I've been able to run my Grey Knights here. And you're only tough or strength 3, correct?
Strength 3.
So wounding on 6s, but those will also be Rens. And there's at least 2 6s right there. So only 2 6s, but still that is enough that it could potentially kill me. So I need to roll at least 1 5-up save here. And that is the Dread Knight dead. So the Seekers have come in and absolutely wrecked another one of my units. So they're going to consolidate. 1 inch, and Be'lakor 5 inches. And they're just going to reposition a little bit. And at the end of the turn, Sean was able to achieve Big Game Hunter, giving him another objective, putting up to a total of 3 at this point. So that does end Chaos turn 2. All the Grey Knight allies have been destroyed, and the Chaos is starting to close in on the AdMech. So let's see what I can do going into my turn 3. And I almost forgot I have to do a panic test over here because I lost a third of my unit. Hey, look at that. They're going to run away, no less. And they're going to run away 7 inches, which is enough to take them down to the bottom of the building here. And for my movement phase, first I'm going to see if the breachers over here rally, which thankfully they do. So they'll just reposition 3 inches and snapfire all their shots. And the destroyers over here, they're just going to back up a little bit. And not quite sure what their plan is, probably just try to obliterate that Fleshhound there. And the Castellan Manipul basically is going to look at Kairos Fateweaver and hopefully take him out of the sky this time. So that is my movement phase. I have no psychic phase, so going right into the shooting phase. And at this point I am going to use the Mask of the Alpha Dominus from my Dominus himself, and he's going to declare the Protector Protocol. So all of my Castellan robots will be firing twice this turn. But it does mean I'm switching off the Aegis, and I'm no longer going to be able to use the Aegis protocol, which means no more Pheno Pain for the rest of this game. Starting with the twin-linked heavy phosphor blasters, firing twice. Firing twice, so that's going to be 18 shots, twin-linked, hitting on 4s. Good thing it's twin-linked. Oh, wait, no, these are actually hitting on 6s, rather, because you're flying. So I've got to re-roll all of these, actually. Looking for a couple more 6s. Oh, there we go. There's a couple more. And these will be wounding on 3s because of toughness 5 against strength 6. And that's going to be 7 wounds right there. So 7 4-up invulnerable saves to make. So let's see him. And 1, 2, 3. He's down to a single. Oh, that's right. He gets to re-roll those. Alright, so he's going to drop 2 more wounds there. Now there's 18 non-twin link shots, so looking for as many 6s as I can get here. And I see 1 6.
There's another one there.
Oh, there's another 6. Okay, let's see if I can get really lucky here. Wounded on 3s. That's definitely cocked. Oh, only 1 wound. So you do have a 4-up save against this. And you made it. Gamma Pistol from the Data Smith. That will hit. Oh, that's actually going to hit. Cool. So this is going to wound on a 3. So that's going to be another wound right there. So go ahead and roll your save. And Kairos is down to a single wound remaining. And the Dominus, his Eradication Ray is, actually it is within the single shot range, so let's see if he hits. Nothing from the Eradication Ray. And lastly, 5 shots from the Macro Stubber, hitting on 6s. 3 hits. But you know what, it's wounding on 5, so... 2 wounds! Okay, alright, does the Macro Stubber do it? The Macro Stubber does it!
Use Kairos's once per turn reroll.
You would, wouldn't you?
Gotta get that for him.
Alright, let's see it. And there we go, and Kairos lives. You had to take that little bit of joy away from me there. Alright, so Kairos is fine. So next up I have the Breachers. They're going to be hitting on 6s against Kairos with their heavy arc rifles. And, oh wow, 3 hits right there. And wounding on 3s. Okay, can you make that save 3 more times? No. Okay, so Kairos has been taken down. It only took most of what was remaining of my army to do it. But at least I also took in a whole bunch of warp charges for you as well. So I feel good about myself right now. Next up, the Destroyers are going to fire into your Fleshhound right there. Going to start with the Phosphor Blasters. Just, you know, hopefully not scattering some plasma onto me. Hitting on 4s. 1 hit. And... that's, I think that might be a wound. And a 3 will definitely wound against toughness 4 there, because it's strength 5. So go ahead, and you'll make the save. Next up, their Plasma Culverins will fire into there. So let's start with the Gets Hot rolls. Let's see if any of them get hot. None are getting hot. So they're all just going to be centered right over top of that Fleshhound there. So that's way off. Second one is way off. Third one, that one is going to scatter 1 inch, but that'll be enough to at least still hit them. So 1 so far. And that one's going to scatter 2 inches, which, nope, that's off. So that's my 4th one right there. Number 5 is, uh-oh, that might actually hit my stuff. And that is actually enough to hit 2 of my Castellans and the Data Smith for 3 hits on that unit right there. And the last one will be a direct hit. So out of 4 shots, I got more shots on my own unit than I got on yours. Let's see if I at least kill that dog. Okay, so that's at least 2 wounds there. So make your 5-up saves. Oh, so the dog has 1 wound remaining. And majority toughness 7 over here. So wounding on 4s. 2 wounds. And yeah, that's just going to be 2 wounds on... oh, nuts. The closest guy is my Dominus. So I gotta look out for that. Nope, the Dominus is gonna be trying to tank it with his 5-up invulnerable save. Nope, and the Dominus will take 2 wounds there. Now thankfully the Dominus does have Feel No Pain, so there's one last chance to get away from this. Hey, look at that. His armor didn't do anything, but at least he didn't feel anything. And at the end of my turn, I was able to get Witch Hunter by taking out Kairos Fate Weaver, so that is actually my first point on the board there. And that does end Mech and Grey Knight turn 2. Or no, sorry, turn 3. So we are going to go into Chaos turn 3. Moving into Chaos, or well, the Demons movement phase. These horrors right here.
Just going to move up onto the objective.
Yep, just go and sit on that one for the game now. And the Seekers just going to continue their murderous rampage and move forward 12 inches. And Bellicor taking to the air. And taking the fight to the Admech, just flying forward. And the Soul Grinder just plodding forward 6 more inches. And the Nurglings just going to skitter forward a little bit. And that's the movement phase going into the Psychic phase. Into the Psychic phase, you now only have 6 warp charges, so D6 plus 1. Alright, and I have my whopping 1 warp charge. So Bellicor is going to use Psychic Shriek into my unit of Castellans there. Warp charge 1. And you got it with 2, so there's no way I can deny that. So Sean's going to roll 3d6 and subtract my leadership of 9. And
so nothing.
Thankfully, nothing happened to me. Okay. The psychic phases have been rather uneventful for both of us. And just going to throw a couple dice at summoning over here. And what do you know? It goes off. And he's going to opt to summon in the 5 Seekers. Let's see if they scatter. 9 inches. That's going to be 9 inches right about there. Yep. And because the first group of Seekers did so well, let's add some more. And that does end the Psychic phase, so let's go into the Shooting phase. In the Shooting phase, gonna run these Seekers over here.
So they run...
Total of, you got +3 to this, right?
+6 for that.
Oh, +6 to that, so that's gonna be 10 inches.
I'll keep...
And they're just gonna barrel forward a little bit more. And the Soul Grinder, gonna keep moving forward. 2 + 3 inches, so 5 inches forward. And he's just gonna basically cuddle up to Be'lakor there. And these Seekers over here, they're gonna run total
11
of
inches.
11 inches. Okay, that's not too shabby. So yeah, that's gonna get them pretty much right into this block here. And before we forget, we do have the Warp Storm that we have to resolve. 9. So, and a 9 is Khorne's Wrath. So let's find out what happens to the Seekers here. Nothing on that Seeker, and just roll for the other Seeker.
Oh, he has more.
Oh, that's right, he does.
So, nope.
He's fine. And the other unit of Seekers on the other side of the table there. Ooh, they're going to get a blast. Alright, so it is going to fully scatter, but it's Strength 8, AP 3. And it's going to scatter 7 inches off, and it's going to hit nothing. The unit of Destroyers, they're fine. The Castellan Maniple with Dominus is also fine. And the Breachers, which are just right over here, are fine as well. So another Warp Storm goes by. So this Fleshhound over here going to assault into the Castellan Maniple. Starting with the twin-linked Phosphor Blasters, hitting on 4s, or sorry, on 6s. That's 1 hit so far. Followed up with a lot more actually. So that's going to be 4 hits total from that one. Wounding on 2s. 3 wounds. So go ahead and roll your invulnerable saves. And the last Fleshhound does go down. And the Nurgling's going to attempt a 6-inch charge against the Destroyers. Or against the Castellan Maniple there. Remember, I can only fire Overwatch once over there, so it's a longer charge, but you can tie them up on a shooting, if you like. He's actually going to try the 8-inch charge against the Castellan Maniple there, because there's just a lot of benefits if you can get into that combat. So go ahead and roll. And 8 inches, so you're in. And there go the Nurglings. And the Nurglings will be going first with their initiative 3. 20 attacks on the charge. Hitting on, bulk weapon skills 3, so hitting on 4s. And we just realized because of the majority toughness being 7, he can't actually hurt me. Now the trade-off here, because a lot of people might be wondering why this was even decided, if I can't kill every single one of those little bases there, I'm locked in combat, and that's going to take a lot of shooting off the table for me on my turn. So it's still, I think, a good move. So I'm going to get my attacks, and let's see what happens. 6 attacks, hitting on 4s from the Castellans. Ooh, okay, so there's 4 hits. And these guys are Strength 6, so wounding on 2s. So that's going to be 4 wounds right there. So you do have your invulnerable saves to make. And 1 is going to stay alive. And the other 3 is just going to be 3 insta-dead Nurgling templates. Next up, I have the Dominus's 2 attacks with his axe, and those are both going to miss. And I have the Power Fist from the Data Smith. Those will both hit, and 1 more save to make there. And that's all she wrote for the Nurglings, so they do go down. And that does end Daemons' turn 3. So we're going to go into turn 4 here, but first we're going to see if he got any of his objectives. So Sean was able to get objective 3 with his horrors, which means he is up to 4 points to my 1. So I've drawn up my new objective, and I've also decided to use another canticle. I'm going to use the Remorseless Fist. So with 4 Cult Mechanicus units on the table, I'll be rerolling 1s and 2s in close combat for the next until the start of my next turn. And one thing we forgot to do on camera, we do have the mysterious objectives going. Now, strangely enough, of the ones that we've identified, which were 3, 6, and 1, those are all scatter fields for +1 cover. And that objective number 2 right there is actually just a nothing of note. Now I'm going to use my Scryer Skull ability on my Dominus to identify, I don't know, let's identify number 4 right there and see what it is. So objective number 4 will be 3. That is going to be the... Oh, that's Skyfire. Oh, why couldn't that be closer to me? Alright, so maybe I'll have to start working my way over there. And over here, these 2 Breachers are actually just going to move 6 inches this way. That's just enough to get both of them within line of sight of that big fella over there, which is enough to hopefully take off those last 2 hull points. And over here, these destroyers, just going to reposition a little bit, get all 3 of them within line of sight and range of those Seekers to fire their plasma culverins. And of course the Castellan Maniple cannot move because they are currently in the Protector Protocol. So with no Psychic phase, let's go right into the shooting phase. The 2 remaining heavy arc rifles are going to fire into that Soul Grinder right there. You will be getting your cover save against this. Hitting on 4s. 2 hits. And 1 penetrating hit. So go ahead and roll your 4-up save there. Alright, so that pen is going to go through. And what's going to happen? 3, shaken and stunned. Or no, sorry, just shaken there.
Yeah, so on a 2+, I ignore that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, but he's down to a single hull point remaining. These destroyers over here are going to fire their plasma culverins into the Seekers, but starting before that, gets hot. Nothing is getting hot there. So we're just going to place it right over the center there just to hit... oh, actually, hitting all 5. So on direct hits, I'll be hitting all 5. But we all know how those have been going this game. First one, that's going to be way off. Second one, hey look, a direct hit for 5. Third one, that's way off as well. Another direct hit, so we're at 10. That's way off. And hey, look at that, 3 hits this time around. So that's going to be 15 hits. 15 hits, wounding on 2s. That is definitely a good chunk of wounds. Now I am firing through Ruins, so he is going to have his 4-up save against this. So go ahead and see how many you make. And that is enough
to kill him.
Alright, I finally got my revenge on that unit of Seekers there. There we go, I feel a little good inside for that one. And the Castellan Maniple, still in the Protector Protocol, is going to fire into Bellicor. I'll be hitting on 6s. Would you like to jink?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Hitting on 6s, twin linked. So there's 2 6s so far. Let's reroll. 4. Oh, there's actually a good chunk of extra 6s right there. And this will be wounding on 3s, strength 6 against toughness 5. Alright, so of those, only 1 failed to wound. He does, however, have his 2-up jink save. And...
made them all.
Made them all. Next up is the non-twin linked heavy phosphor blasters. Again, hitting on 6s. Not terrible. There's 3 hits right there. Wounding on 3s. Alright, there's 3 more wounds here. So go ahead, I want to see at least 1 there. 3 ones would be amazing. Nope, and you're fine. And that does end my turn 4. Once again, achieving no objectives. So let's go into Chaos Demons, turn 4. Starting with Bellicor, he's going to... Are you dropping down?
Dropping down.
Alright, he's about to get his hands dirty. He's just going to fly over here. And the Soul Grinder continuing to plod forward. Just have not been able to strip that last wound off him. And the Seekers just charging forward. I think they have their eyes set on my little breachers right here. Into the Psychic phase, we have D6 plus 6. A total of 10 to my 4. Gonna start with Invisibility on Bellicor right there, throwing 5 dice at it. And it does not go off.
Ooh, that's gonna be rough.
Well, I have to admit, I was kind of hoping for perils there, but I'll take that as well. And you want to Psychic Shriek next?
Yep.
Go for it. And that one will go off, because it's only Warp Charge 1, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's see if I can get 2 6s here. No, only 1 6.
6 minus your leadership.
Yeah, 3d6 against my leadership 9. And nothing again. Unfortunately, Psychic Shriek has not been performing this game. And the Warp Storm table for 9, so same as last time. Starting with the Seeker on a roll of a 6. No. And just do the Soul Grinder over here as well.
Sure.
Nothing there. And Breachers. Nothing on the Breachers. The Castellan Maniple. Nothing there. And the Destroyers. Nothing there. Starting with the Soul Grinder in the shooting phase, gonna put a or the Baleful Torrent just down on here. Gonna hit as many of the Maniple as he can, which is gonna be 4, and gonna be hitting 2 of the Destroyers as well. On the Maniple, wounding on 5s. That's gonna be 1 wound right there. 3 up armor save. we're fine. And 2 against the destroyers, wounding on 3s. So only 1 wound, which is good because that means I'm going to retain all 3 of my destroyers at this point. And he'll just drop down to 1 wound. Next up is the Harvester Cannon shots into the Castellan Maniple, hitting on 4s. No hits. And into the assault phase over here, these Seekers are going to declare an assault against my Breachers right here. I'm looking at an Overwatch. I'm hoping for 4 6s right here. Only 1 6. And wounded on a 3, sorry, on a 2, but nothing. And I don't think there is any way you can fail to get in. No, do you want to reroll that one just to get a better charge?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, 6 inches, and that's going to put all 5 of them in. 3 Hammer Wrath at strength 3, so wounding on 6s. No wounds. 20 attacks into the Breachers, hitting on 3s. That's a good chunk of hits. Wounding on 6s, but those also happen to be rending hits. And I see 2 6s, so that will kill the front right there and reduce the back guy to a single wound. And he's going to pile in and get a single attack back, hitting on a 4. And he will miss, so he's going to fail combat by 2, so leadership 6. Oh, look at that, he failed. Didn't see that one coming. And there's my initiative. And there is...
6, I caught you.
You caught me and took out my last Breacher. These guys will then consolidate 4 inches. And just going to move these Seekers back the 4 inches, start moving towards this objective. And that does end Chaos Demons turn 4. No additional objectives scored this turn, but things are still looking really rough for the AdMech. I'm going to see if they can come back from this one. So let's go into AdMech, turn 5. And all I can really move in this phase, just going to move these destroyers over just a tiny little bit, and they're going to probably unload into the Soul Grinder there. And at the start of my turn, I'm also going to use the Scryer skull to identify objective number 5 over by the Seekers right there. So let's see what it is. 4. That is the, I believe it's called Targeting Relay, so rerolling 1s to hit on shooting attacks. And once again, the Castellan Maniple is going to fire into Bellicor. Would you like to jink?
Absolutely.
Alright. 18 shots from the twin-linked heavy phosphor blasters. Now thankfully these ones will be hitting on 4 because you are no longer in the air. Whoa, wow. That is a good hit so far. Let's see if I can add some more to that. And only 1 more was added to it. And these will be wounding on 3s. That is a good chunk of wounds. Now if you could roll a bunch of 1s, that would just be super for me right now.
Yeah.
Not a single one. Next up is the non-twin linked shots, hitting on 4s. That's not terrible, but it could have been a bit better. And 3's to wound. 6 wounds going through. Hey, look at that, we finally saw a 1. Alright, Bellicor is going to drop down to, how many wounds has he got?
I want to say 5.
And he's down to 3 wounds. Next up we have the Gamma Pistol from my Datasmith, hitting on a 6. Nothing. The Eradication Ray from my Dominus. Nothing on that one as well. And then the Dominus's Macro Stubber, hitting on 6s. 1 hit from the Macro Stubber, wounding on a 5. Hey, that's right, that's another wound. Oh, and that is a save. Okay, and that does end my shooting. Oh, no it doesn't, sorry, I still got these guys to shoot as well. But Bellicor is still around. And over here, these three guys. Oh, do I want to fire into him, or do I want to risk it and fire into Bellicor? I honestly don't know right now. Oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to fire into... I got to fire into the Bellicor. I got to see if I can take him down. So, do any of them get hot? Oh, look, one of them does get hot. 4-up save. Alright, let's randomize this then. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this middle guy will take a wound. So, the 4 shots that are firing are just going to all center right over top of the Bellicor. I'm firing at Bellicor here. Just going to center right over top of him. First one is going to scatter 3 inches, which is just enough to take him off the base there. Next one. And that's going to be off the base as well. Hey, look, there's 1 direct hit, followed by way off. So only 1 hit, wounding on 2. At least that's going to wound. And you're saved. So that does end AdMech Grey Knight turn 5. However, I was able to get an objective this turn through recon. And just by getting all the objectives sort of identified. So thankfully that's going to be 1 point there. And there it is. And let's go into Chaos Demons, turn 5. At the start of the movement phase, these Seekers just going to go up and secure objective 5 there. And the Soul Grinder just going to keep plodding forward 6 inches. And Be'lakor just going to get within 1 inch, just so he cannot fail that charge. Into the Psychic phase, D6 plus 6. Total of 7. Be'lakor is going to start the Psychic phase off with invisibility with 5 dice. There's that, Perils! Now, I can't possibly deny this, so go ahead and roll a 1. That's a 2. Well, I'll still take it. So the result of a 2, he's going to suffer 1 wound and lose a random power, so just ignore anything over 7 on this. So power number 5. And a result of a 5 is invisibility, but in turn 5, I don't think it's really going to make a whole big difference at this point. And invisibility does in fact still go off, so I'm going to be hitting on 6s in the close combat phase when you charge. And he's going to try 2 dice Puppet Master on these guys right here. And there's no way I can deny that with only 1 warp charge. And because it's focused, he's going to choose one of the wounded ones, just in case it gets hot here. Which it does not. But now you have a template put down. I think right there is the best bet with a potential 3. So here you go. Roll your dice.
Direct hit.
Oh, sure. You get to direct it. You got 1 more shot, because it is a heavy 2.
Heavy 2.
Yep. Shot.
It is also a direct hit.
Oh, of course, you get all the nice direct hits, so that's going to be 6 hits against me. Wounding on 4s.
1 wound.
Oh, that could have been a lot worse. So the Datasmith being the closest will have his 5-up refractor field save. No, so he will take a wound and go down to a single wound remaining. Next up is the Warp Storm table. Let's see what happens. 11. Now, because I don't have an enemy, or I don't have a Psyker, that is basically just a result of calm. And Soul Grinder going to do the same thing as last turn. His best thing is going to get 4 on the Castellan Maniple and 2 on the Destroyers here. So just get Destroyers out of the way, roll those guys. So on a 2. Alright, and the closest ones will just die. So that's so much for the last wounds on them. And wounding on 5s against the Castellan Maniple.
Nothing.
Nothing there. And the Harvester Cannon into the Castellans as well, hitting on 4s.
And not a hit.
No hits. Moving into the Assault phase, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna assault with the Soul Grinder first.
Okay, so I'll have 1 Overwatch shot that can actually hurt it. The Eradication Ray, hitting on a 6, nothing. So the Soul Grinder, and he's in, he's fine. And Be'lakor just going to charge in as well. And at this point, I'm going to use the Mask of the Alpha Dominus to change my protocols immediately over to the Crusader protocol, basically doubling all my attack profiles on my Castellan robots there. At the start of combat, Be'lakor is going to declare a challenge, and my Datasmith is going to take that one for the team and just go right up to the front there. Yeah, he's killed a Bloodthirster, so maybe he can get Be'lakor. Wouldn't that be something?
Nice.
Now Hammer of Wrath, so let's start with Be'lakor against the Datasmith right there. That is definitely going to wound. So I have a 2-up armor save, which he'll make. And now your Soul Grinder.
He's strength 6, so...
and needing a 5, so nothing there.
Yep.
And at the Initiative 10 step, I do have my Datasmith's Data Spike against Be'lakor here. So hitting on a 5... that's going to hit. And what's your toughness 5?
Toughness 5.
On a 5. No wound. Be'lakor 6 attacks on the charge, hitting on 3s. That's all going to hit right there. Wounding on 2s. And that is at least... oh, only 4 wounds right there. So let's see if I can get lucky and make a whole bunch of invulnerable saves right here. That is not a whole bunch of invulnerable saves. So down goes the Datasmith, and the next closest is the Castellan. Next up is the Soul Grinder, 4 attacks base, 5 on the charge, but I did blow up his close combat weapon, so he's only going to be strength 6 right now. So hitting on 4s, I believe.
4s, yep.
That's going to be 4 hits, wounding on 5s. And that is going to be 2 wounds. So the Castellan will drop down to a single wound remaining, and then I will pile in at Initiative Step 2. I think you'll pile in that way, actually. And just remember that invisibility did go off, so my data spike wouldn't have actually hit, but didn't wound, so no worries. So the one Castellan that's in base with Be'lakor hitting on 6s, and rerolling 1s and 2. No, because I did not use that. That was a turn ago, I believe. So let's see what happens. Nothing from that one. And then the Castellan against the Soul Grinder. I think I gotta take away all my attacks and do one single smash. Hitting on a 4. Nothing there either. And lastly, my Dominus will step up and get his 2 attacks against Be'lakor. Hitting on 6s. Nothing there either. So that combat will be a resounding loss. Do I run away? Yeah, because there was 4 wounds dealt. And I'm definitely going to run away here. So what's Bellacor's initiative?
Initiative 8.
I can't run away. I can't actually get away. So Be'lakor will just sweep. And I think at this point it is a safe bet to say that Chaos has won this match. So that was a very well fought, well played game by Sean. So awkward left-handed handshake. And let's go take a look at the map. All right, Wargamers, so there you have it. A very well-played game from Sean with his Demons. Those Seekers, man, they were just devastating.
Yeah, they made up for yesterday.
Yeah,
for sure.
Who says they're bad? They're scary. So anyway, he is going to be able to place a black flag on the planet of Duusol. So let's go take a look at that map. So the forces of Chaos are going to move out of the city and start pushing forward into the fields. All right, so there you have it, guys. That was the first of our 2 matches, but I am going to get a chance to redeem myself against Sean. We are going to be doing a second game. Once again, 1,500 points. Now, that was going to be in the vault, so you guys can go ahead and click the link below. It's going to take you right there. Now, if you're not a vault member, you can still go ahead and click the link. It's going to get you that 7-day free trial, and you're going to get access to everything we have in there. So painting tutorials, extra campaign stuff, some cool little rules discussions and whatnot. Cork in a box, as always. So it's great fun. Definitely worth checking out. And as always, happy wargaming. So here is the table, and the mission we'll be playing today is Tactical Escalation. So we're going to be starting off with 1 objective apiece and drawing a second one or another one for every turn we're on. So as you can see, Sean is just deployed across the table right there. All his frightening demons. There's those Seekers again. And on my side, all I have to start on the table is my Castellan or Cybernetica cohort. So hopefully all my reserves come on, and I'm not stuck with just that. And yeah, so we rolled off, and he got to deploy first. So we're going to find out if I steal the initiative here or not. I do not. So we're going to go on to Chaos Demons, turn 1.